Hello, everyone. Dalton did his SEC bracket prediction last night. I wasn't able to join him for that, so I'm here doing it now. And I think my picks are going to be a little bit better than his, so we'll see how this goes. The bracket's about to come up, and you won't be able to see me, but you should still be able to hear me just like an hour before these games tip off. Actually, less than an hour, so I'm just barely squeezing this in here, but hey, we're doing it beforehand, so here we go. At least we're getting it done beforehand. All right, LSU and Kentucky is the first game. That's at 11:30 Central Standard Time. I'm going to go Kentucky in this game. I just think, you know, although they skated by on a miracle against LSU last time, I just think Kentucky is going to come out hot here and going to try to prove something because they didn't have a great regular season. So I'm gonna pick Kentucky here, and I just think they're going to outclass LSU. They just have too much talent. Mississippi State and Auburn at 2 Central, 3 Eastern. I'm actually gonna go Mississippi State in this game, guys. I'm gonna go Mississippi State just because Josh Hubbard, man, he just dropped like 42 again this last week, and he dropped 40 something against Auburn the first time around. I think he's gonna be the difference, and I honestly think they could be a dangerous team if you're not if you let them get on a run. But I think it's gonna put Auburn's tourney hopes to bed here. So I'm gonna pick Mississippi State to take this game. Um, Ole Miss in Texas. That's the game at 7 Eastern, 6 Central tonight. I'm gonna go Texas here. Ole Miss has been so underwhelming, just really really bad this year, and Chris Beard has just not had his team up to the challenge here this year, and I just don't see them beating Texas. Although that game was pretty close a couple weeks ago, not a couple weeks ago, maybe about a month ago. And Chris Beard used to coach at Texas, might want some revenge on him, but I think Texas is just too good for them. So South Carolina at Oklahoma is the last game at 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central. I'm going to go Oklahoma. They actually have a couple of good wins, and they've pulled some things together here towards the end of the season. I think they're going to beat South Carolina. South Carolina, I'm shocked they're not worse than the 14 seed, to be honest. So I'm going to take Oklahoma in this game. Much better team, in my opinion. So starting at the bottom with Oklahoma playing Texas A&M. That's tomorrow night, the last game. I think Texas A&M is going to get it done. They need this for their tourney hopes. Like they're like in the, I think like last 4 buys maybe. So we'll definitely need to avoid this loss to not drop in the NCAA tournament. So they need this win. I mean, to avoid being dropped in the NCAA tournament bracket into like that last 4 in. So, and they, at one point they were leading the SEC, like midway through the conference schedule. So I'm gonna go Texas A&M to beat Oklahoma. Georgia playing Texas in that second round here. Oh man, this is a really close game. I think these teams are pretty comparable and close. I'm gonna go with Georgia though, because what they did, to kind of end the season there, beating Alabama, and that will set up a rematch with Alabama in the quarterfinals. But we'll get there in just a minute. I think they played really close, Texas and Georgia, in the regular season. I just think Georgia has a little bit more talent and more elite guard play, so I'm going to go with them here. And then that leaves me Tennessee playing Mississippi State in that second round. I'm going to go Tennessee to win that game. I think Josh Hubbard will have a magical moment here today against Auburn, but then it'll end against Tennessee. Just too much defense for Josh Hubbard to overcome by himself. So I think Tennessee's better defensively. Maybe Nate Ament will be back. I haven't looked at his status actually. So if Nate Ament is not going to be in this game, I'm trying to look this up here. I should have looked it up beforehand. Um, I don't know. Nate Ament is I still think they can beat Mississippi State without him, but I think it's going to be tough to win any further without Nate Ament. So it looks like Barnes expressed confidence in Ament's return for the postseason following the Vols' loss to Vanderbilt this past Saturday. So I mean, maybe he's going to be playing, but I think they could probably be okay without him in this game against Mississippi State. Okay, Missouri and Kentucky. I'm going to go Missouri, actually. I think Missouri is overall the better team. Already beat Kentucky this year at Kentucky, and they may have played twice, but I know that they beat them at Kentucky. And I think Missouri, is really well coached. In fact, I think Dennis Gates is probably a better coach than Mark Pope at this point. But I like Missouri, the way that they fought and the way that they fight, and that they just, sometimes they have some bad games. Like they got absolutely drilled by Alabama and a couple other teams, but they did beat Kentucky at Kentucky. I think they can do it again. I like those guards for Missouri, so I'm going to go Missouri winning that game. So that puts me in the quarterfinals. Missouri playing Florida. And hey, listen, Missouri beat Florida in one of the first games of the SEC schedule. That was their first two games, was Kentucky and Florida. They beat both of them. That was an impressive start for them. I'm going to go Florida, though, to get revenge in this game. I think that you know, they hadn't had everything together when they first played Missouri. So I'm going to go Florida winning and getting their revenge against Missouri here. I'm going to go in the second game with Vanderbilt and Tennessee. Ooh, man, that's going to be a tough one. I'm going to go Vanderbilt, though. We just saw this game. They actually split in the regular season. They both won on each other's courts. Like, they didn't win at home, but they won on the away court. So Vandy won at Tennessee. Tennessee won at Vandy. But I think Vanderbilt's going to do this, especially knowing that Nate Ament, his status is kind of up in the air. I'm going to go Vandy. So that leaves me Alabama playing Georgia in the quarterfinals in Game 11 on Friday. And I'm going to go with Alabama to get revenge in this game against Georgia. Georgia, beat them just a week ago at Georgia. I feel like Georgia shot one of their best, had their most, I don't know if they had the most threes in any game this season, but they had a bunch in that game. They had like 13 or 14. And I think Alabama's going to come ready to defend a little bit better in that game and beat Georgia, get revenge on them. I just think Philon, Reitzel, and Holloway will be too much this second go around. So I'm going to go with Alabama to get revenge against Georgia in that matchup, although I could see Georgia beating Bama. Then Texas A&M and Arkansas, another good matchup here. I just think Acuff is way too good, and the other freshman, Malik Thomas, for Arkansas, I think are going to be the difference here. And I think in a tournament setting here, this is just big time for Darius Acuff. So I'm going to go Arkansas here. So Arkansas and Alabama in the semifinals on Saturday. That's what I'm predicting. And as much as I hate to do it, Dalton also picked this, but I'm going to pick Arkansas to make it there to the championship game and beat Alabama there in the semifinals. I think, Dalton chronicled this in his video that, Arkansas barely lost to Alabama at Alabama with 3 or 4 players fouling out, and they did not have Carter Knox in that game. Now, it did take Darius Acuff dropping 49. I don't think he'll do that again, but still, they took Alabama to three overtimes, with all those things happening. And, I don't see Alabama being able to stop them enough here. Now that they're a little bit more healthy, and now that, they probably won't have these foul troubles. So I'm going to go Arkansas to get to the championship game. And I'm actually going to take Vandy to beat Florida in the other semifinal game. I think, Florida may overlook Vandy a little bit. They did beat Vandy at their own, on Vandy's home court, but it was a very close game. Vanderbilt easily could have won that game. But I think Vanderbilt's going to get it done and shock everybody and beat Florida and get to that championship game. So Vandy versus Arkansas, and I'm going to take Arkansas to win the conference tournament. I think Darius Acuff is going to be the difference. He's a player of the year. He's so good. I think he's going to make the difference in this championship game. In the biggest stages, the biggest players show up. He's going to get it done. They're going to win and, take it home. And I think that's going to put them at like easily a 4 seed in the NCAA tournament, maybe even a 3 seed, but probably a 4. And that's my prediction for the SEC tournament. I think it's going to be a really, really awesome tournament. Could go any number of ways. Even Dalton's picks could come true. But thanks for tuning in.